The best JRPGs nobody played. Yeah, I've done videos on that and often include usual suspects like this, but today isn't about them, it's about JRPGs I've barely covered or not covered enough. Hey, wait a minute, who put this game here? Jeez. Anyway, welcome to 5 great JRPGs that sadly nobody played, so let's begin. Number 5. Nostalgia. I recently came back to this game and I can't believe I once called it generic. Sure, it's no masterpiece, but damn was I wrong. It's a love letter to classic 16-bit JRPGs though. Narrative, gameplay and combat are very reminiscent of the first years of the Golden Age, but it adds steampunk elements, a setting within the 19th century, and a cast of characters traveling through London, Tokyo, Cairo, New York, etc. It's quite the unique approach to world building and lore for a JRPG, dare I say, developed by Matrix Software and Red Entertainment. And the story revolves around Eddie, who decides to become an adventurer in search for his father, who seems to have disappeared. Not without leaving a bunch of trails behind, of course. So, as I mentioned, the gameplay is traditional, as in you visit places in your Zeppelin airship, go through areas and dungeons as well, especially ruins. Actually, the point of the game is to talk to NPCs to find clues on the next ruin or Eddie's father's journey. The dungeons are simple with a few puzzles here and there, but they have random encounters. The rate is weird, sometimes high, sometimes low. Battles are played in turns here. It's classic turn-based with the classic menu options, with each character having their own unique set of skills. You do have a reward system though. After every battle you get a grade based on how well you did, and if you did well enough, you may get additional rewards. There are also battles with the airship that are actually also bound by the turn-based combat. Remember Skies of Arcadia? Well, it's kinda like that, just not as deep and difficult. As of the making of this video, this game is an exclusive to the Nintendo DS and it was never released in Europe. It was initially going to be published by Exit Games. For some reason, Ignition Entertainment, who are absolutely terrible at advertising, took the reins and brought it to North America. So yeah, those are the reasons why nobody played this game, instantly becoming quite the obscure hidden gem. If you like some classic RPGs like Lunar, Grandia, or the old Final Fantasy games, this might be your cup of tea. It's like what I Am Setsuna tried to achieve, except this game did it a decade before. Number 4. Onimusha Tactics. First released on the Game Boy Advance, then digitally re-released on the Wii U eShop. This is a grid-based strategy RPG in the likes of Tactics Ogre or Final Fantasy Tactics. Nowhere near as deep, of course, which is why I recommend it for beginners. But basically you follow the uprising of Onimaru and the characters that join him to put a stop to the evil Nobunaga and his army. Surprisingly though, it's got a traditional story with serious development, humor and comedy when it needs it, and a charming cast of characters. I mean, you'd think a game like this will be boring, dull and generic, right? But nope, it'll definitely surprise you if you give it a chance. And the gameplay is also as traditional of its genre. Watch a few scenes and play in small maps against several enemies. You move on grids, perform one of various actions, and the animations are within the map. I mean, you don't change screens for the battle animations. Onimaru himself can equip different types of weapons like swords or spears, and I think the map design in this game is clever but balanced at the same time. I'll admit there's nothing special about the gameplay, but it feels polished in every important area. So while not as original or creative as some of the following RPGs you'll see in this list, I thought I will include it for being quite simple. I mean, what's wrong with a simple RPG every now and then? Obviously, nobody played this game because no one ever expected an FFT-inspired game based on friggin' Onimusha. I've covered this game a few times before, but not enough, and I say that because I really think it needs more love. Number 3. Front Mission First. This is a grid-based strategy RPG with a mature story, but this isn't the first remake it got. It was originally released on the Super Famicom, later ported to the Wonder Swan color. A remake on PS1 was also developed at the end of the console's lifespan. We never got any of those versions until its remake on the Nintendo DS in 2007. Europe didn't get it. I did play that version and got bored quickly for some reason. It wasn't until this worldwide remake on the Nintendo Switch that everyone got in 2022, the version I'm covering today, that I started appreciating it more. In 2023 it was released on all other consoles. It looks beautiful on the Switch. The background and world graphics, including the mission maps, are a visual treat. The mechs look really good too, especially on the setup section, where you can equip different weapons and body parts. You know, I feel like most of you aren't familiar with this RPG, so I'll explain it. This is a game that follows a futuristic setting in a war between the two new superpowers, which are pretty much America and Asia. You choose between two different routes and protagonists. Royd, for example, gets framed when an incident aggravates the conflict and a mysterious officer kills his fiancée. Because of this, he gets officially discharged from the military, and a year later, he joins a group of mercenaries known as the Crows to get back in action. The game's got a really good story with a mature character development. Gameplay-wise, your characters fight in their mechs moving on grids. Both melee or ranged attacks can be executed depending on the weapons equipped. The point is to destroy the enemy's body to defeat them, but destroying their arms or legs can leave them either immobilized or unable to attack. However, you can't target the parts you want. Characters target whatever they feel like because their weapons specialize in targeting certain parts. As a result, this game can be quite challenging, but thankfully there are difficulty settings you can change to at any given time. This is a fantastic remake and definitely one of the best so far. There's a sequel also remade last year, but I haven't played it. I think nobody played this remake because it got released around the same time as many other JRPGs, including other remakes and remasters. It's just the era we're living in is swallowing up a lot of obscure gems like this one, and despite being available in several consoles, people simply missed it. Number 2. Poison Control. This is an extremely unique and weird action RPG. Your silent protagonist dies but gets stuck in this place. Makes a forced deal with Poisonette in exchange for having powers to fight demons that are basically born from the tortured minds of several women that may or may not be dead. Also, Poisonette can finally ascend and you listen, it's freaking weird. But weird in the sense of funny and interesting at the same time. The game's edgy, but it doesn't take itself seriously. So, you control both your MC and Poisonette. Your character will be the third-person shooter part, being able to equip different types of guns that shoot different types of ammos. Ammo can be found by defeating enemies or in chests throughout the dungeons. Some enemies might be weak to a specific type, but you can only take with you just a few of them and change between them at any given time. But obviously, ammunition isn't infinite. Defeating enemies gains you experience and money, but how do you heal? You only have 3 lives before it's game over and back to the world map. But you can heal by either finding these floating items around, usually by defeating enemies with Poisonette. You can instantly switch to her with one button, but she has a timer. If it runs out, she'll disappear, but you know what? You can almost instantly use her again, whenever you want. During that timer, you'll have to run across these poison or blood stains to purge the hells. Cause every girl I mentioned at the beginning basically spawned these hells. However, you also get experience, money, items, and you guessed it, ammunition by doing so. Stages aren't that long and you can re-enter them whenever you want to grind in the overworld. This is also where you save and there's a weird shop, but that's a spoiler, so let's just move on. The game's quite challenging and the third-person shooter controls aren't perfect, but it's still an extremely interesting video game. The soundtrack is insanely good, very worth listening to outside of the game. The graphics are colorful, visually stunning, and very good looking, typical of a AA RPG by Nipponichi Software. Definitely give this game a chance if you see it. It's on Switch and PS4. Number 1. Suikoden, the woven web of the centuries. Nobody played this game because it never came out of Japan. Not only that, for the longest time it didn't have a fan translation. A lot of other PSP or Nintendo DS JRPGs from this era got one. I honestly don't know why no one bothered with this game until just a few years ago. so it was finally done by a team called Twisted Phoenix all the way back in 2021. I'm sure some of you Suikoden diehards already knew that, but I'm guessing most of you just didn't. This is a spin-off of the series and the last title ever released before it died. I thought it will be kinda bad and boring, but nope, quite the opposite. It's a really good game if you appreciate it for what it is. You won't get war battles or duels like in the main Suikoden games, but guess what, you still recruit 108 Stars of Destiny. Obviously, I suggest using a guide to do that, especially because some of these stars don't join you personally since there's a big time travel mechanic, so instead of joining you, some characters teach their special skill to another character in your party, and that's how they become Stars of Destiny. Weird, I know, but it's still pretty creative for a simple spin-off. The party of 6 characters in battle finally came back, so that's a big plus. The game though is on the easy side. I don't think you're gonna find a decent challenge until quite late, but it's still worth playing through. Music is great, just like the graphics for its time, but the camera during exploration is pretty damn bad. It'll take you a while to get used to it. Anyway, finally, I just realized that I didn't explain the story. Your protagonist, who isn't silent by the way, discovers that he can jump back in time to 100 years ago, so he and his friends will have to build an army in their current time while going back to learn abilities, train, and alter the course of history, all this to prevent a powerful centennial monster from destroying both timelines. It's a good story, and the translation is awesome. Thank you Twisted Phoenix for translating this gem, it's an excellent game. Sure, it takes a while to grow on you, and at the beginning it'll be kinda generic, but trust me, it will grow on you if you give it a chance. Well, there you have it guys, 5 great JRPGs that nobody played. Except for that one person who'll say they did in the comments. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!